good afternoon. This is Avanindra Som and you're listening to the news in detail on Gold FM.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
In the news headlines this afternoon, solar reforms a Trojan horse, says expert. Schools close early amid bad weather warnings. Former Minister Douglas bailed. No U-turns on education reforms, insists President. And in headlines overseas, Europe riled up over Trump's imperialist attacks. And in headlines from the world of sport, Bangladesh writes to ICC again.
The top story on Gold FM.
Now the Department of Meteorology issued a red alert. A deep depression situated 160 kilometers east of Pothuil is moving northwest and is expected to cross the Sri Lankan coastline between Jaffna and Trincomalee by tomorrow evening. Severe weather conditions are expected to impact large swathes of the country. Forecasters predict very strong winds reaching speeds of 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, with gusts up to 70 kilometers per hour, particularly in the northern, north central and eastern provinces. The western, Uber, northwestern and central provinces are also set to experience strong winds, with intense rainfall being also forecast alongside the high winds. The districts of Jaffna, Mulathu, Vaunia, Mana, Kilinochchi and Trincomalee face heavy rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters starting today. Fairly heavy showers of up to 75 millimeters are expected in Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa and Patiklo. The adverse weather will likely continue into the weekend, with significant rain persisting in the northwestern province tomorrow, while evening thunder showers are predicted for the western, southern and Sabaragamuwa provinces. The National Building Research Institute in the meantime issued a red alert for evacuation in parts of the Nuwara and Kandy districts today as heavy rains continue to lash the hill country. Residents in Nidahinna and Valapane in the Nuwara district as well as Ududumbara in the Kandy district were urged to evacuate immediately to safe locations to avoid the risk of landslides and slope failures. The disaster warning, valid for 24 hours starting at 9 am today, indicates rainfall in this area has exceeded 150 millimeters within the past day. Amber alert warnings were issued for Mathurata and Hanguranketa in Nuwara, Pilagamo in Matale and Minipe in Kandy, advising residents to be ready for evacuations if conditions worsen. Furthermore, all schools across Sri Lanka's Uva province were ordered to close at 11:45 am today following safety directives from the National Building Research Institute. While initial landslide warnings for districts including Kandy, Badul and Nuwara prompted evacuation alerts, authorities now say the immediate risk has lowered after a deep depression changed its course. Despite the reduced threat, disaster management officials are urging residents in the Central Hills to remain vigilant and stay informed of further weather updates as the situation evolves.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
The National Chamber of Commerce issued a stark warning over the recently unveiled draft of the National Electricity Policy, claiming it will cause utility bills for underprivileged communities to soar. Lakmal Fernando, the Chamber's Deputy President and Chairman of the Power and Energy Council, warns that the document contains hidden dangers far beyond simple price increases. Fernando explained exactly why the policy, in its current incarnation, is a Trojan horse.
The new policy says all cross-subsidies to the electricity consumers to be removed and gradually shifted to a direct subsidy of the Treasury. Right now how it operates is you have cross-subsidies between each consumer groups. Person who is using 550-600,000 units will subsidize for a person who is using 30 units, 15 units, 16 units, 100 units like that. But now what they say is the new policy, you are not supposed to give cross subsidies. If the government decides to give cross subsidies, you can take it from the treasury. We all know the treasury situation in Sri Lanka. That's not going to happen. Eventually, people will end up paying large amounts of money for the electricity. The lowest consumer scale of 30 units per month, he will end up paying 300%. 60 units per month, consumer will end up paying 200% of his existing bill. And the 90 units customer will end up paying 50% more. But the 500 unit customer will pay 50% less.
The Deputy Chairman of the National Chamber of Commerce also spelled out the grim reality for rooftop solar users following the release of the new National Electricity Policy.
If you have done solar, we are going to punish you. To simplify that, a small customer who has been using 300 to 350 kilowatt hours per month, he was paying before solar 15,000 to 16,000 rupees. So with solar coming in, now this guy is paying a bank loan to install the solar. While he's paying the bank loan, he is paying an 80 rupees fixed charge to the CEB. That's all that he pays right now. But after they forcefully shifting them to time of use tariff, he will end up paying 15,000 rupees. This is a punishment for saving dollars to the country. Rooftop solar sector, we are saving almost $1 billion to the country.
As for who would benefit from the changes, Fernando gave these thoughts.
Diesel mafia. So they don't have business now. Right now we have a 5.5 to 6% growth in the electricity consumer market every year. It was 6.5%, but with the COVID it came down to 5.5%. So this 5.5% additional increase in the market, who would like to share? The diesel mafia. So when the solar is not there, naturally they can sell more and more fossil fuel based diesel, heavy fuel, gas, which is never going to come. So all that is will thrive. So an industry that has helped the country to survive in these difficult times will be wiped out.
Now that said, there are certain countries such as Australia that charge what is known as a sun tax from solar users. On that front, he gave these views.
If you want to install a 10 kilowatt solar system in Australia, they will give you 80% subsidy. So it's not your money. So country can do anything when it is not your money. But here, everything, whatever is invested by the customer. So it is not government's property to behave and manipulate it as they wish.
If the new policy is given the go-ahead, it would make the Public Utilities Commission effectively defunct.
According to the 24-25 Act, UCSL is supposed to be doing the consumer tariffs as well as the feed-in tariffs. But the electricity policy has ruled out the feed-in tariff. So when the feed-in tariff is not there, it is taking over the rights of the PUCSL to give a better service and a better solution to the people have been diverted to a different direction. So when the policy is written in such a way, PUCSL is helpless. Same thing to the consumer tariff also. Now consumer tariff right now is a cross-subsidy tariff. But when it is taken into flat tariff, there's nothing that PUCSL can do because that's the country's policy.
Ultimately, the question arises as to who is responsible for the formation of such a damaging policy.
The committee that was appointed was taking advices from a person who has been a damaging factor to the electricity sector in Sri Lanka outright. We strongly believe that this document that is written is also a document that is written by that person. We discussed this with some of the individuals in the committee. They said Tilak Siembalapeti, a former chairman of CEB, he was involved, which is illegal because he has direct interest with CEB, and the Act clearly says any person who will have any financial interest in the matter, in the CEB or the utility, shall not be entertained.
Now moving on in more local news, former Cabinet Minister Douglas Devananda was granted bail by the Gampaha Magistrates Court following his arrest in connection with a firearms investigation. Devananda was released on 2 personal bails of 2 million rupees each after appearing before the court today. The case centers on a military-issued pistol discovered hidden in a wooded area near Valiveria in 2019. President Andrukumara Dissanayake affirmed that the government's planned education reforms will proceed without delay, regardless of opposition or external criticism. Speaking at an event in Galnera where a compensation was being distributed to families whose homes were damaged by Cyclone Tetwa, the President emphasized that the restructuring of the education system remains a core priority. We have left the President's remarks undubbed for clarity.
ලංකා ඉතිහාසයේ පළමු වතාවට ව්‍යසනයේට මුහුණ දීපු ශේස්ත්‍රවලට නැවත නගා සිටවන්න ගොඩ ගන්න විශාල යෝජනා ක්‍රමයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරා. කවදාවත් මෙහෙම වෙලා නැහැ. අපි මේ 2026 වසර විතරක් ඒ ව්‍යසනයෙන් ගොඩ ගැනීම සඳහා කෝටි 50000ක් වෙන් කරලා තියෙනවා. මේ අවුරුද්දට කලින් දෙසැම්බර් මාසයේ සඳහා කෝටි 7200ක් වෙන් කරා. අපි ආණ්ඩුවක් හැටියට මේ ජනතාව බලා ගැනීමේ වගකීම ඉටු කරන්න ඕන කියලා තීරණයක් කරගත්තු ආණ්ඩුවක් නේ. දැනට වාර්තා වෙලා තියෙන ප්‍රමාණයට අනුව නිවාස 6000ක් විතර තියෙනවා සම්පූර්ණ හානි වෙලා. ඒ වගේම හානි නොවුණත් භාගයට හානි වෙලා සහ හානි නොවුණත් ඒ ප්‍රදේශ වලට යන්න සුදුසු නැහැ කියලා තව 10000ක් 18000ක් විතර වාර්තා වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා ආසන්න වශයෙන් ගත්තොත් අපිට අලුතෙන් ගෙවල් 20000ක් 25000ක් අතර ප්‍රමාණයක් ගෙවල් හදන්න. ඒ විතරක් නෙවෙයි. අපි මේ 2026 අයවැලේ කලින් තවත් ගෙවල් 31000ක් විතර හදන්න දාලා තියෙන සල්ලි. ඉතින් අපි මේකෙදි බැලුවා මෙහිම. දැන් ගෙයක් කැඩිලා තියෙනවා. ගෙයක් මුළුමනින්ම අහිමි වුණු කෙනාට ඒ වගේ තිබ්බ වගේ ගෙයක් අපි හදලා දෙන්න ඕන. ඔයා ගෙදරක හිටියා, ඔයාගේ ගේ කැඩුනා, ඔයාගේ ගේ මේ වගේ. එහෙනම් අපි ඒ වගේ ගෙයක් හදලා දෙන්න. ලොකු මුදලක් යන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි අපි කල්පනා කරේ එහෙම නෙවෙයි. අපි කල්පනා කරේ එයා හිටියට වඩා හොඳ ජීවිතයකට හිමි නිවසක් හදලා දෙන්න ඕන. ඒ නිසා අපි තීරණයක් ගත්තා ලක්ෂ 50ක් දෙනවා ඒකේ හදාගන්න. ඒක අපි අධීර 3කින් දෙන්න. ලක්ෂ 20ක් දෙනවා. ඒ 20ට ගේ හදපුවාම ඉතුරු ටික හදාගන්න ඉතුරු 15 දෙනවා. ඉතුරු ටික හදාගන්න ඉතුරු 15 දෙන ඉක්මනින් හදන්න. මොකද සල්ලි වල ප්‍රමාදයක් එන්නේ නැහැ. මාස 2ක් 3ක් ඇතුළත ඉක්මනින් මේ නිවාස හදලා ඉවර කරන්න ඕන. අපි අවශ්‍ය සල්ලි ලබා දෙන්න. ඊළඟ අපි බැලුවා තවත් අර්ධ වශයෙන් හානි වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපි තීරණය කරේ හානියක් වෙලා තියෙන හැම එකටම ලක්ෂ 5ක දීමනාවක්. අපි දන්නවා සමහර වෙලාවට ලක්ෂ 5ක හානියක් වෙලා නැහැ. ඊයල් 10000ක 15000ක 25000ක වගේ කුඩා හානි වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒත් අපි කිව්වා ලක්ෂ 5 දෙන්න. එයි එයාට තිබ්බට වඩා අඩුම තරමේ ගෙදර හොඳ වැසිකිළියක් හදාගන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ස්ථාවර කාමරයක් හදාගන්න. ඒ නිසා අපේ ආණ්ඩුවේ මූලික අභිප්‍රාය තමයි මේ කාර්යයන් ඉටු කරලා දෙන්න. හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක්. අපි දන්න දීර්ඝ කාලයක් අපේ තියෙන අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමයේ පිළිබඳ අපේ හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ අපි කවුරුවත් සෑහෙනකටපත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමයේ සාර්ථකයි නම් අපිට මේට වඩා හොඳ ප්‍රතිඵල ලැබෙන්න ඕනකම තිබුණා. කාලාන්තරයක් තිස්සේ මේ අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමයේ අලුත් වෙනසක් අවශ්‍යතාවය පිළිබඳ සාකච්ඡා තිබුණා. අපි අලුත් වෙනසක අත තියලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒකට ඒකට මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒකටත් විවිධ වර්ගයේ අවලාද, අසත්‍ය, කිසිදු පදනමක් නැති කරුණු කියන්න පටන් ගන්න තියෙනවා. අපේ අභිප්‍රාය වෙන්නේ අපේ දරුවන්ට හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබා දෙන්න. ජාත්‍යන්තරව ලෝකයේ ඕනෑම රටක් එක්ක හැප්පෙන්න පුළුවන් ගුණාත්මක හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක් අපේ දරුවන්ට දෙන්න ඕන. අපි ඒකට වෙනස්කම් නැති කර කවුරු මොන විදියට ඒ වෙනස්කම් අකුලන්න උත්සාහ කරත් අපි ඒ වෙනස්කම් ඇති කරන අධ්‍යාපනය.
Now for some news in brief.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando and his two sons are scheduled to be produced before the Vattala Magistrates Court today.
The business news on Gold FM.
The UK government updated the Developing Countries Trading Scheme, or the DCTS, providing a boost to the Sri Lankan manufacturing sector. Sri Lankan garment manufacturers can now source up to 100% of their raw materials from anywhere in the world while maintaining duty-free access to the UK market. The changes also remove previous requirements that mandated multiple manufacturing stages take place within Sri Lanka. Sinogen commissioned one of Sri Lanka's largest rooftop solar installations at the Best Pacific Textiles Lanka facility in Pannala. The 6.4 megawatt system supplies a major share of the factory's daytime electricity needs while cutting carbon emissions.
International news on Gold FM.
Emmanuel Macron and Frank-Walter Steinmeier sharply criticized US foreign policy under Donald Trump, warning that international order risks disintegrating into a robber's den. Addressing diplomats in Paris, the French president said Washington is breaking free from global rules, while his German counterpart described recent American actions as epochal rupture, endangering democracy. These remarks come as EU leaders bear responses to US moves on Venezuela and Greenland, sparking urgent calls for greater European strategic autonomy.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
A major battle for control of Warner Brothers Discovery is dividing the company's top investors as they weigh a sweetened $108 billion takeover bid from Paramount Skydance against an existing deal with Netflix.
Sports news on Gold FM.
The Bangladesh Cricket Board formally requested that the International Cricket Council move the T20 World Cup matches from India to Sri Lanka, citing detailed security concerns once more. And that's all the news for now. Stay tuned to Gold FM for the latest updates and the next news highlight.